Hello everyone, this is Aritra Ghosa in front of the camera again after a long time, and this is the first tutorial video on this channel. So in this video I'm going to talk about 5 unique text animations inside Premiere without help of any of After Effects templates, because we know that inside Premiere there is not a lot of text animation preset available to use. So you have to create your own, and what I did, I combined different effects available inside Premiere and applied those on some text files, and the result was really good, and I thought that I could share those text animations with you. So without any further wasting time here, let's just get started inside Premiere. But before that, let me roll my new intro for this channel. So here we are inside Premiere and we are about to create our first animation. At first you have to create a new title. Go to File, New, and then Legacy Title. The title will be of 24 fps as our sequence is also 24 fps. You can write anything you want. I'm writing here animation, and once the writing is over, then close the tab and drag it into the timeline. Then crop it a little bit and also copy it by pressing the Alt and dragging it to the right. Then I will make an adjustment layer and bring it to the timeline above the titles we have already created. Then go to the Effects tab and write Cube Spin. It is an effect already present inside Premiere. After applying the effect, decrease the time to make it faster. Then duplicate the titles and shift a little bit horizontally. Now if we play back the animation, then we can see that the text is not changing. So double click on the title on the right and change it according to your own wish. Once you change the text, the animation will be ready. And now what you have to do, you have to select all the titles together and nest it to get a clean timeline. Then go to the Effects tab and type Transform. Apply the effect on the adjustment layer. Then go to the Effects tab and uncheck Use Composition Shutter Angle. Instead, type a value of 180 degrees for most realistic motion blur. This is the exact animation I created before, and here you can see a chromatic aberration around the text. So if you want to apply this effect to your text, then go to the Effects panel and search VR Chromatic Aberration. Drag the effects into the adjustment layer and it will affect all the layers below it. Now if we just play back the animation, we can see that the chromatic aberration is fixed and not animated. This is the file I created earlier, and here you can see that each property that has been animated has 4 keyframes in it, and the overall duration of the animation is 10 frames. Here I will go through each keyframes so that you can see the numbers, the exact numbers, and reproduce them in your timeline. So now your animation will be ready if you have done everything correctly, and it will look like this. So now this is the time for the second animation, and you can call it the chroma leak transition. In the timeline you can clearly see there are 2 title animations, and the right animation is the exact copy of the left but without the transition. That is for your understanding. So you can clearly see that there are mainly 3 elements in it, 1 adjustment layer and 2 titles. And needless to say that this is the exact same adjustment layer that we have created earlier in the first animation. You have to just copy and paste it again for reuse. Here you can also see all the effects applied on the adjustment layer, the animation for the chromatic leaks and for the shutter angle, and anything you want to do, you can just do it on the adjustment layer. Now just double click on the title on the left and change it according to your need. When you are done, do the same with the title too. After you change the titles according to your own need, go to the Effects panel and search for one specific effect, that is VR Chroma Leak. Now just drag the transition in between the titles and your animation is almost ready. Now click on the transition and you will see some properties which you can animate. I have just animated the angle between 0 and 180 degree and also changed some values without animating them, and that gave me the look I wanted. So for the third title animation here, we are going to call it a simple glitch. Here also we can see that there are 3 layers, and the topmost layer is the adjustment layer. This is also the same adjustment layer that we have created earlier. So it will be easy for you to create all this transition with just one simple adjustment layer and applying some of the effects that are already present inside Premiere. We can see that there are 2 titles at the left and 2 titles at the right, and in between them there are 2 different transitions which were already present inside Premiere. Now if you just switch off the visibility of the bottommost layer, we can see the individual effect of the topmost layer and the middle layer where the transition is actually happening, and this is a simple wipe transition. And again, if we just switch off the middle layer, then we can see the individual effect of the lowermost layer with the adjustment layer at top of it. Now by combining these two effects together, we can create some really complicated but very nice looking text animation inside Premiere. At this point of time, you might be wondering what are the exact effects that you will look for inside the effects panel. For the lower layer, you will search for the VR gradient wipe, and you can just type it in the effects panel and you will get that effect. And for the middle layer, the effect is VR iris wipe. Now this is the time to animate your transition. And at first we will be talking about the VR gradient wipe transition. Here I have animated the tilt and the pan, and also changed the default value of the roll, which is to the z-axis. For the x-axis, I have created 2 keyframes and repeated them 4 times until the transition is finished. And for the pan, I have created only 2 keyframes, one at the beginning and one at the end of the transition. And that is the optimized thing that worked for me. Now I will go through each keyframes that you can see the value and recreate in your timeline, and then save it as a preset, because if you don't save it as a preset, it will take a good amount of time to recreate every time you use the effect. To save it as a preset, you have to go to the effect and then right click on it. You will get an option save preset. Once you click on the button, you will get one pop-up box where you can name your preset and also add some description according to your need. Here I will give my description and click on the OK button. Once it is done, if you go to the effects panel, then you will get one folder called preset, and just click on it. You will get all the preset you saved before, and also this preset we just saved. The next time if you want to use this effect, just drag and drop the preset on the titles and you're ready to go. On the other hand, I didn't animate any properties in the iris wipe transition, but if you want anything new, you can always do that and save it as a preset. Now that our animation is ready, the final product will look like this. The fourth animation, it consists of just 2 layers, one adjustment layer and one text layer. The adjustment layer is the same we made before, but there are very few changes on the VR chromatic aberration part. I will show you what are the changes keyframe by keyframe, that you can copy the values and recreate the same in your timeline. I'm showing the values of the keyframes, that is okay, but it is not the exact thing you must do always. You can change these keyframes according to your own need, and you don't need to copy the exact same settings what I did. It just worked for me for the time duration I used in my timeline. But I hope that you understand the concept behind why I am showing these keyframe values to you. So now when you are done with the adjustment layer, come to the title layer and click on it. In the effects panel you can see that one effect is applied, that is mosaic. And to get this effect, you have to go to the effects panel and search there mosaic. There will be an option mosaic in, mosaic out. Ignore those things and go down there to select the mosaic option and drag and drop in the title, and it will give you the exact thing you are seeing on the effects panel. And then you have to just animate the properties, and I'll show you here the keyframes and exact values that you can copy for your own timeline. And again, save it as a preset, because this will save you a good amount of time. Now notice that these keyframes do not look like the typical diamond keyframes. But why? Because these are Bezier keyframes. So if you want to transform a diamond keyframe, that is linear keyframe, into a Bezier keyframe, then you have to just select those keyframes and right click, and there you will get the option to make it a Bezier keyframe. Now think that you want to change the time duration of your title. Then you have to just select the group of keyframes and drag them before and after according to your need. And when you are done with it, your animation is ready to go. So here we are with the fifth and final animation, that is bounce in out, and you can see it is just one layer with some animated properties and one single effect copied 2 times for in and out transition. So it is very easy to recreate and save it as a preset. To find the effect, you have to go to the effects panel and search their VR projection. Once you get the effect, just drag and drop it on the title and do it twice for the in and out animation, because we have to animate separately the in and out of the same. The keyframes at the right are exactly the mirror of the keyframes at the left. It is just because to maintain the tempo of the animation for going in and going out. So if you just expand the effect, we can see there are several properties that you can animate, but I have animated one single property, that is the tilt, and then copied the effect again, pasted it on the same clip with mirrored keyframes for the out animation of the title. Now notice one thing, that all the keyframes are not same. Different keyframe has different shapes here, and if you are confused about that, then just select any one keyframe and right click. You will find a list where you will be able to see what are the types of keyframe that you can use, and you can transform any type of keyframe into different type of keyframes according to your need. At this point of time, probably you have noticed that the text isn't coming from any side of the window, but it is coming from the center of the black background that we are working on. If we just slowly move the timeline indicator, we can see that the text is coming from a sharp edge and also going out with a sharp edge. This is not something complicated, this is very easy, a simple masking. If we just click on the mask 1 in the effects, then we can see the position of the mask and how it is controlling the visibility of the text. You can see the text when it's inside the mask, and you can't see it when it is outside of the mask. And in this case, I have used two separate masks for two separate animation, that is in and out, because with one single effects layer, there is one single layer of VR projection, it was not happening very smoothly, and this is the only reason I have used it two times and separately animate in and animate out the same properties. Now again, I'll go through each keyframe that you can just copy and paste those values, because these values are totally experimental, and these are the values which gave me the smoothest result with the bounce effect. Now when your opening animation will be ready, save it as a preset and apply the preset again into the same effect on the same clip, and just reverse those keyframes that it can act as an animate out property. If you want to change the duration of the animation, then select the animating out group of keyframes and shift them as per your need, and your animation will be ready. So those are the 5 text animations inside Premiere, and I hope that you have enjoyed this video and learned something out of it, because it was really a fun experience making some new text animation using some old effects inside Premiere. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you are not already, and hopefully I'll see every one of you in the next video.